Hello students, this video presents a short analysis on the novel Lady's Coupe written by the popular Indian writer Anita Nair. There is another popular writer Anita Desai in her book The Village by the Sea says, the wheel turns and turns and turns, it never stops and stands still. It means the life. Yes, life keeps on moving like a river. There is no stop, there is no pause. Yes. Lady's Coupe by Anita Nair. Anita Nair is a critically acclaimed and best-selling author of 9 novels and a short story collection. And she was born in Kerala. She is a very popular writer. She has also published 6 books for children, 3 original audiobooks, and a collection of poems and a collection of essays too. Anita Nair has also written 2 plays and the screenplay for the movie adaptation of her novel Lessons in Forgetting, which won the National Award in 2013. And she is so popular that her books have been published in over 31 languages around the world. She is also the founder of Anita's Attic, a creative mentorship program. Apart from winning the Central Sahitya Academy Award and the Crossword Prize, Anita Nair is the recipient of several awards and honors. And this present novel, Lady's Coupe, was written and published in the year 2001. And the novel follows the journey of a middle-aged Indian woman named Akila as she travels to Kanyakumari in her search for independence, and on the train's Lady's Coupe, she swaps stories with 5 different women who inspire her to live her own life. Lady's Coupe is divided into a total of 11 chapters, and among them, the chapters with odd numbers are unnamed. This is the unique feature of Anita Nair, that she follows the different style in naming her chapters. So all the odd number chapters are not named, and the chapters with even numbers are given names. And Akila's chapters present her point of views and thoughts regarding the life experiences of fellow passengers. Yes, she meets 5 women from different layers of society, and each one of them share their pathetic life stories, how they are oppressed and suppressed by the patriarchy of the society. And this swapping of stories help uh, uh, the character Akila to think and reflect about the life incidents she heard from her co-passengers. The last chapter is entitled as Akila Speaks, and this is very important because this Akila, also known as Akilandeshwari, is a woman of organized behavior, and she has completely dedicated herself for the sake of her family. But when she is not married and when she decides to completely surrender herself for the welfare of her family, what happens to her, how the world treats her, how the family uses her, this forms the base of the novel. And the final chapter is named as Akila Speaks, and this is where Akila makes the important decision in her life. And Anita Nair presents the existential struggle of woman who denies to flow along the current and refuses to submit her individual self. Yes, this is the most important idea or point in this novel. So what happens when a woman surrenders herself to the expectations of the society, and what happens when a woman denies to surrender herself to the expectations of the society? This makes the difference. When you say yes to everything, what happens to you? When you say no to everything, what happens to you? So this is the question, and this changes a woman's life. The woman emerging out of such situations is a defeated individual who undergoes much pain and suffering. Yes. So this reality, this saddening and striking reality is presented by Anita Nair in this novel. It means, so when a woman refuses to surrender to the expectations of the society, how she suffers, how the society looks at her, how people criticize her, and what happens to her. So everything is neatly and vividly presented by Anita in this book. Such characters, those characters who deny, who refuse to surrender, they exhibit a sense of insecurity due to their traumatic psychic experiences, and also due to the collapse of one value system and the absence of enduring values. Thus, in Ladies' Coupe, Anita Nair traces a woman's journey from self-sacrifice to self-realization, self-denial to self-assertion, and self-negation to self-affirmation. The feminist voice is heard throughout the novel, and in this novel, Anita Nair focuses on the following themes: men and women relationship. So, what happens when a man and a woman come together in life? So, it may be of any relationship: father, daughter, sister, brother, husband, one wife, and friends. What happens to them? And marriage and divorce. So, what effect marriage creates on the life of a woman? And similarly, what effect divorce creates in her life? And social and cultural uh, ideologies and also psychological issues that are undergone by the women. And the protagonist in this novel is known as Akila or Akilandeshwari. She is the main character of this novel. She is 45 years old spinster, and she is doing what is expected of her, and she doesn't have an identity of her own. And her father dies because he was too honest. He couldn't fit himself to the practical problems of his office, so he commits suicide. So Akila has to provide, as the as an educated daughter of the family, Akila has to provide for the family. She is an organized person. She has also lived with and for her family, and she is living in Chennai, Madras, the town where Akila is living. And finally, one day she questions herself, what remains for me in life, and that makes her to travel to Kanyakumari without informing anybody. She gets a ticket and starts her travel to Kanyakumari from Madras. And the question is, where do you go? This is a recurring question and theme in this novel. Completely, this is the where do you go? So, journey as well as in life. So, what is her decision? And this question symbolizes the need to escape. Yes, Akilandeshwari, she wants to escape from the pressures of the mundane life. And she has an, even though she is a spinster, she has an affair with Hari, a man much younger than her, and he wants to marry her, but she refuses because she is afraid of what society will say. She doesn't understand what is love, so she she leads her life always fearing about the comments by others, and she doesn't need what she truly needs. She feels the need to define it when she leaves Hari. She says, "This is not meant to be." And this way, she loses a good opportunity to live a happier life. And she has some more people who play an important role in her life. The first one is Karpakam, an old school friend. She influences Akila a lot. She convinces her to live alone. Karpakam influences Akilandeshwari a lot, that she convinces her to live alone and do whatever she wants in Kanyakumari. And this one character teaches independence to Akila. And there is another character, Akila's sister. She is a victim to the patriarchy. She is married with two daughters. She lives in Akila's house, and she is always in conflict with Akila. They are not getting along with each other. And there is one more character, Catherine Weber. She is a young Anglo-Indian girl. She is a colleague of Akila in the income tax department, and she convinces Akila to eat eggs. Being a Tamil Brahmin, Akila is not expected to eat eggs, but Catherine convinces her to consume eggs. And now, in the Ladies' Coupe, Akila meets 5 different women. And the first one is Margaret Shanti. She is a chemistry teacher, and she got married to another teacher who is also the principal of the school where Margaret is working. His name is Ebenezer Paul Raj. He is an example of male dominance. Um, Paul Ebenezer changes Margaret's life with the power he has in her life. She actually wants to do PhD, but he forces her to complete her BA. And finally, she understands that she is being exploited by her husband, and finally she changed herself in an artistic way to win her freedom from her husband. She keeps on feeding Ebenezer and makes him fat, and that way he makes him feel bad about himself, and she wins her freedom after doing this. And there is another character, Janaki. She's a fellow passenger of Ladies Coupe, and she is an example of old age tradition. So that the old age tradition teaches that a woman should be obedient, a woman should depend on a man in her life. So as a daughter, she has to depend on her father. As a wife, she has to depend on her husband. As a mother, she has to depend on her son. So in that way, Janaki believes in the old age tradition and acts accordingly. And according to her, a woman should be a good daughter, sister, wife, mother, and so on. So she surrenders and submits to the expectations of the society. And Indian society also believes that a woman should always depend on a man in their life, and this is exactly is explained and believed by Janaki. And the next character is a 14-year-old girl, Sheila. Even though she's very younger, very innocent, she's very sensitive with a deep insight about life. And this deep analytical ability was given to her by her grandmother, and she is a mentor to Sheila. At a very young age, she understands what is meant by life. Her grandmother also teaches her a negative picture of male domination. Sheila understands this very well by observing that her father celebrates her as a daughter, but whenever he starts questioning his beliefs and constraints, he immediately uh, controls her. So her father used to control her whenever she began to talk. And the next character is Prabha Devi. She is another victim to patriarchy. Even Prabha Devi's mother is pleased when a daughter is born, as the thoughts are confined that a daughter is someone who will take her recipes to the other house and treasure her jewelry. And this is what the old age women believed. So cooking and taking care of the children and house, and that's their primary duty. And Prabhadevi's mother finds more pleasure in the company of her daughter than in her four sons put together. Though Prabhadevi's childhood had been this way, in future she grooms herself as a woman who can measure up her life with difference. She wants to be independent. She doesn't want to define herself within a more mechanical and monotonous life of a homely wife and a mother. She wants to learn something new. She wants to be independent. And Prabhadevi achieves the self-actualization by learning swimming on her own out of great desire. As the critic T. Varalakshmi says, she triumphs over her innate timidity and gains peak experience of supreme content, bringing tremendous happiness to her husband as well. And the next character is Marie Korindu. She is another passenger who comes from a poor family, and she and her mother work as coolies in Chettiar's house. And she was seduced by one of the Chettiar's son, Murugesan. Marie Korindu shows her love and affection towards Chettiar's grandson, but she hates her own son Muthu, the one who escaped from many attempts of abortion. So she was Marie Korindu, out of her ignorance, she did not even realize what was happening to her, and she was impregnated by Murugesan, and she decides to abort the child, and she makes many attempts to abort the child, but the child escapes and he is born, but Marie Korindu doesn't like him. Margaret, in conclusion, Margaret, the chemistry teacher, represents the women who are forced to lose their self-identity by their husbands. A 14-year-old girl, Sheila's portrayal depicts the modern young women who are aware of their need of individuality. And the story of Marie Korindu pictures the rural women who lose their life because of illiteracy and ignorance. Janaki, a pampered housewife's posture, is common to be found in India. And Prabhavati overcomes patriarchy by learning a skill and independence. So in this way, Anita Nair presents all the layers of society, and uniformly in all the layers, women are suffering and how the patriarchy affects them. So this is the theme of this novel, how women suffer in the hands of patriarchy and how they overcome their problems and prove themselves, and how they attain their self individuality, so independence. So that's the concept of this novel, and these are the reference part, students, and I have also included a quiz in this so you can practice later. Thank you.